Good morning. What is going on, guys? Quick video here about leaf cleanups and fall work, sort of. So, as you can see, let's see, I'll flip the camera real quick. I'm in a neighborhood with lots of big trees. This is a bit older neighborhood, so been around for a while, and they have lots of large trees through here. So, kind of starting to get some leaves on the ground. We're gonna get some door hangers out for leaf cleanups. Just leave it to us. So I'm gonna put a bunch of these out today, but kind of wanted to go over my process and how I'm figuring out things here for the fall season. So this is a good time to pick up the recurring a little bit for the end of the year, give you a little boost in cash, as well as just get some one-time projects on the schedule. So there's a couple different things to consider, when you're bidding a leaf cleanup. You can bid them anywhere. Unlike the lawn, where the lawn needs cut either weekly or bi-weekly, you can bid these leaf cleanups weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, or one time. And the spectrum there hopefully will give you something to sell to everybody. So what I mean by that is, if people are most concerned with cost, going towards the monthly or one-time cleanup is definitely going to be the best as far as cost-wise for them, because you're only showing up one time. Another thing to think about with cost is how are you going to dispose of the leaves. So here where I'm at, we actually are lucky enough that the city will come around and do loose leaf collections, I think 3 to 4 times throughout the season. So I think it's typically once a month, from October, November, December, January. So most of the houses will get hit 3 or 4 times in that time period, on like a 4 to 6 week basis by the city, and then they'll suck up all the leaves on the curb. So that is definitely the cheapest for clients. Just one time, blow them all to the curb towards the end of the season in December and January. That also should hopefully help bridge the gap into the spring, the next season. If you can be selling jobs out that far into December and January, that will help give your guys some work to do through the winter, and it will help save the client the most amount of money. So that is the cheapest. The best thing to do, though, the best for the lawn, because the leaves aren't laying on the lawn, matting the lawn down, and then the best just also for recurring work for you and for your crew, and easiest to manage is weekly or bi-weekly leaf cleanups, right? So just like the mowing, showing up every week, blowing them all to the curb, blowing them into the woods, getting them off the lawn, making sure the driveway is clean. It keeps the house looking nice for the client. So, if you have a higher end person that likes their house looking good, and or just has a very nice lawn, and they don't, want to get bare patches or dead spots, taking care of those weekly and bi-weekly is definitely the way to go. It also makes it much more manageable. When you have massive trees like we have in this neighborhood, it can get a lot to push. Of course, at some point, like on a weekly to a bi-weekly basis, it really isn't going to change your time that much more. So like selling the bi-weekly is almost better, because sure, it's more leaves, but it's the same amount of surface area you have to blow, right? When you get into the monthly and the one time, it becomes such a large quantity of leaves, you're having to break it up into different sections and tarp it to the front. But doing weekly to bi-weekly, it doesn't necessarily take too much longer, in my opinion. Another thing to consider, is how are you picking this stuff up, right? So are you just gonna blow it all to the front, use tarps to drag it to the curb? Do you have a billy goat, one of the big blowers, or are you gonna mow it and you have a bagging system on your mower? And then if you're using a push mower, like they use at the original Augusta shop in Bellingham, that could take a lot longer than if you have like a 52-inch stander, or a 60-inch sit down with one of those, 3 bagging kits on it. So we don't use baggers here in North Carolina. We have mulch kits. which is actually another thing. But it's going to be mostly blowing them to the front. We have a bagger for the push mower, so on some of the smaller properties, it might actually be faster to just bag them, and you'll get a better cleanup because you'll get pretty much every single leaf. And you just have to blow them out of the beds and whatnot first, and then you can bag them. Lots of other properties, bigger properties like this, we're going to have to blow them all to the front, and you're just trying to get 90, 95, 98% of the leaves. If you're doing a weekly, bi-weekly schedule, because each week they're just going to continue to fall. If you're doing monthly or one times, you have to be much more particular and try to get every single leaf, because the person's paying for it for, say, one time, right? So you have to be much more detail oriented. Where if you're just doing it on a weekly, bi-weekly basis multiple times, you know, you're going to be doing it 20 times throughout the fall here. On that last 1 or 2 visits, that's when you're going to get really detail oriented and make sure that every single leaf is picked up throughout the yard. But on all the other ones, the leaves are going to be falling just as fast as you're picking them up. So you don't have to be quite as detail oriented. You're just getting the bulk to the street. So that's nice for crew as far as yellow slips go. Because by the time the customer gets home from work, more leaves are going to fall in their yard. Another thing, if you aren't as lucky to have a city pickup near you and you have to haul them all off, that can get costly for the customer. But one thing to try to save space, especially save space for you as far as dumping fees, to help keep your dumping fees down as low as possible, is blow them all to the front and then mulch them up. If you don't have one of the leaf cleanup systems with the vacuum and the hose, then you can just use a mower and mulch them all up with the mower. Kind of just leave it at the highest setting, go slowly over it, make sure you're not stalling out the blades, not doing, you know, too many leaves at a time, you'll hurt the mower, but just slowing them down, or slowly going over it, mulching it up, grinding it down to a finer, you know, more compact space, and then shoveling it into the trailer. That's going to save you a lot of space and maybe a lot of work, because it'll be more finely packed and you can just flip it into the trailer nice and easy that way. So I hope this helped. I mean, as far as pricing, it just comes down to you. You have to do a few of these jobs with the equipment that you have and figure it out. You know, each one's going to be different. If you have a billy goat versus bagging on a mower versus just blowing them, you know, it's kind of going to depend all on you. You know, you have to consider things like hills and all of that you would consider with a normal estimate. You know, ease of access, gates in the backyards, different things like that. Natural wooded areas that you can blow them into. Those are all things you'll kind of just figure out over time. You probably got to misbid a few and then learn from those mistakes, get burned on a couple, and then you'll figure it out. So I wish I had more of a concrete answer for that. It's just, think about how long it would take you to walk through this entire yard and slowly blow them to the front, basically. Yeah, I mean, you just got to get after it, learn, and then it will get better for sure. So, hope this helped. See you guys later.